Hi, I am so excited to come to you live tonight from Gibson's Italia here in Chicago. They have been tremendous in helping and partnering with us for some of our most really creative events that you are logging into, including tonight. Tonight is our third night, and it is the business of fashion. The Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, for most of you who probably haven't heard of us yet, only launched in February, right at the onset of the pandemic. We had to shift quickly, like everybody else, going from in-person meetings and panel discussions at 2112 Chicago to figuring out this virtual space. So tonight I'm excited that during this 9 days of giving, we have some of the most famous and just talented designers. And we are going to start with one individual who started here in Chicago, but has made his way to LA, Marcellas Reynolds. Marcellas is obsessed with all things style. He's an author, an entertainment reporter. Marcellas Reynolds is the ultimate fashion insider, with editorials in British GQ, British Vogue, and Elle. The walking, talking fashion Wikipedia is a top wardrobe stylist. Catch him gleefully chatting all things pop culture in Daily Mail TV, Good Day LA, and the Tamron Hall Show. It was modeling in New York where Marcellas discovered his true passion, wardrobe styling. Editorials for AIBI, Grazia, and InStyle magazines, as well as advertising campaigns for Anheuser-Busch, H&M, and United Airlines soon followed. Styling celebrities Rebecca Hall, Sharon Stone, Justin Timberlake led Marcellas to Hollywood and a career as an entertainment reporter and TV host. You've seen him on Gossip, on We TV, on E, live from the red carpet, and Good Morning America. In fall 2019, you guys, this is so exciting. Marcellas published his first book, Supreme Models. Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion is the first ever art book devoted exclusively to Black supermodels. We are honored and excited to have him here. Let's look at an interview from Fox.
Welcome back. To date, never has there been an art book devoted exclusively to Black top models. Supreme Models fills that void. It pays tribute to Black top models, past and present.
It is written by celebrity fashion stylist and TV host Marcellas Reynolds, our friend of the show. He joins us now with a look inside this iconic book, your labor of love.
My labor of love, 8 years in the making.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It feels like you gave birth, right?
I mean, literally. Not only does it feel like I gave birth, no disrespect to people who have given birth, but it also feels like now I have a toddler because I think about it, covered it. I'm like really like just touching it, like cuddling it every single moment.
It's a gorgeous book. First of all, a gorgeous table book. But tell us your inspiration, because you said 8 years in the making. Why come up with a book like this?
Well, the original inspiration was a book came out called Vogue Faces of Beauty. It's the British Vogue book. And that book had like 100 models in it. It was super expensive, really beautiful. I bought it, and it only had 2 Black models in it, Naomi Campbell and Iman. And I was like, where's Alec Weck? Where's Leah Kabidi? Where is Veronica Webb? Where are the legends? British Vogue was the first Vogue to put a Black woman on the cover. Not to mention they didn't include Beverly Johnson, the first Black woman on the cover of American Vogue. And so I literally went on Amazon, and to this day there's a review of that book with 1 star from me. And that was where this idea was born. And it took that long to like sell the book, to create what the book was supposed to be, interview all these iconic women, and sort of like license the photos and just really make it into what it's become.
And the face of the book is Janelle Williams, who I love. I didn't realize this. She was a former track star.
She was a track star. She was training for the Olympics.
Unbelievable.
She got injured, and then her whole life changed. And she's like, okay, what am I going to do now that I'm no longer a track star? And she decided to try her hand at modeling, and now she's the face of Tom Ford Beauty. I mean, that's a crazy story.
We're going to go through some more pictures of inside this book, but Tell us, I just realized, like, they just came out Miss Universe. She's the first Black Miss Universe.
Right.
There's four beauty queens now: Miss USA, Miss Universe, Miss Teen USA, and Miss America.
Yes.
For the first time.
For the first time
and
ever.
This book here is historical in many ways.
It's so funny. It's like this whole sort of Black renaissance is happening right now, where the beauty of Black women is really being exalted for the first time in the first way ever. And I'm so happy that my book is a part of that conversation, celebrating these icons.
And we're looking at Beverly Johnson here. So you've been out, you've been doing your book tours and book signings. What's the reaction that you're getting?
I know my reaction was like, what? Welcome, sir. Welcome, Marcellas.
Hi. How are you?
Listen, I'm just trying to understand, how are you? Because this all happened before the pandemic. Oh my gosh, I mean, you guys were here. You launched the book here and in New York. Talk to us a little bit. But, even before that, I also want to tell some of everybody about you too, right? We just,
Everything. Okay, so as you know, you and I met through my great friend Billy Deck, who I've known since like the early 90s. In fact, last year around this time, I was actually in Chicago doing the first leg of my book tour. And Chicago, which is my hometown, I grew up on the South Side. I went to Kenwood Academy. I went to the University of Illinois Circle. Chicago's my hometown, and Chicago feted me like I could not even believe. It was wonderful. I did a bunch of television shows there, and everybody, Ikram had a wonderful party for me. Space 519 had a party for me. Soho House Chicago had a party for me. It was just incredible. I was on the cover of Chicago Splash magazine with the incredible supermodel Veronica Webb, who wrote my foreword. So it was just this amazing moment. And when COVID hit, I was actually about to start the second leg of my book tour, which was going to start in New York. And then I was going to spend like a month in New York. I had all these events planned. And then I was headed down to Miami after that for like 2.5 weeks. And then I was planning on coming back to Chicago and just chilling out a bit, because that's my home. That's where I go to relax and recharge.
It literally, the pandemic turned everybody's worlds upside down. It's such a blessing that you were able to roll the book out ahead of it. We have found, and studies have shown, that books, instruments, and all sorts of things have really ticked up in terms of sales. And, I'm hopeful that even though your tour has been postponed, that, opportunities like this to share the vision that you had. And that's one of the things for our entrepreneurs who are watching, Marcellas. It's like, you saw a gap. You're like, wait a second. I don't see the women who I know are supposed to be in here, and you filled it, right?
The book to me is like the culmination of all my lives, right? I'm the little Black gay guy from the South Side of Chicago. My first job was in Water Tower Place at a women's clothing store. Yeah. And then from there, I was in retail for years. And then from there, I stumbled into working in bars and restaurants. So old school, I worked at Shelter. I was a bartender and a cocktail waitress at Shelter. And that's how I met Billy Deck. And then I ended up working at Vivo, which was a legendary restaurant on Chicago's Restaurant Row on Randolph. And then from there, I ended up at Vivo, and that's at Marche. And I got discovered at Marche and began a modeling career. And it's each time, it's like when a door opens, being brave enough to step through it. Yeah. And then just seeing beyond where you are right now, seeing the possibilities of what's next. So I really think the book is the culmination of all those lives I've had, from like being in retail and loving clothes, being a model and loving clothes, being a stylist and loving clothes, but also seeing how Black women were treated on sets all over the world, and seeing the unfairness of fashion to Black women and Black talent, even though fashion is incredibly democratic for the most part. Yes. And then finding that niche, and then also being tenacious. It took 8 years for Supreme Models to happen. And I can't tell you how many, actually, I can tell you how many times I was told no, that this book, I was told as a Black man who was somewhat successful with a television career and a fashion styling career, I was told by at least 3 publishers that there was no market for a book about Black women. In that wording, people sat in a room with me, took a meeting with me because they were interested in what I had to say and what I had to sell. But when they found out what it was I was selling, they didn't like it. And they actually said to me, I'm sorry, there's no market for a book about Black models, or I'm sorry, there's no market for a book about Black women. So the fact that this book has been a #1 bestseller, it's sold out of its first printing. The fact that Vogue chose it last year as one of the top fashion books of 2019, and this year Essence chose it as the #1 book on Black style ever. That's not lost on me, and I really want to call all those people, take another meeting with them, just walk in with the book in my hand and be like, aha!
Well, I have to tell you, I had to, throw a little something special on, because not only did you style, but you would stop some folks and let them know what they needed to do.
Yes, it is true. I am that monster that would be walking down the street and I'd be like, that's awful. What made you choose that? Or I would be like, that's really good. Where did you get it? Or I'd be like, wait, you know what? Take that belt off, take the shirt out, wrap the belt around your waist, take the off, throw it over your shoulders like a cape. Now, honey, you've been street style. Work, walk, honey.
Work. Yes. I mean, it's just amazing, and it is such a joy to know you, to watch your star rise. And I'm really thankful that you said yes, because when we think about, we're getting ready to introduce some tremendous designers who are having to figure out how to have a fashion show without a runway, right? How are individuals innovating? And arguably, to have you start us off tonight, this is a Stream-a-Thon. It's a fundraiser. And we are in a position to, with the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, provide resources for individuals like yourself to guide a path through to success and sustainable success. So you've mentioned TV, you've mentioned modeling, author. As entrepreneurs, there are different ways that you can generate revenue. Do you have a tip for what not to do?
Don't not listen, okay? Surround yourself with people that know more than you do. And when they're willing to give you that information, when they're willing to give you those seeds, those nuggets, listen to it. So I got discovered to model by Marie Anderson, who's this legendary agent in Chicago. And very early in my modeling career, and I was successful 20 years and 20 pounds ago, 25 years and 25 pounds ago, let's be honest. All I wanted to do was model. But Marie from day one was like, you've got a voice, you've got this huge personality, you could be so much more than a model. And she wanted me to act, and she wanted me to be a television host. And I was like, no, girl, I'm happy being a model. And I wish to this day that I had listened to Marie. And I wish to this day that I had pursued my true love. And I wish that I had walked through those doors that were open to me sooner. I didn't want to listen. I turned her off. So now I've learned that if there's somebody there, listen to what they have to say. Actually take it in, breathe it in, and see if it has validity. See if it has a lesson for you, and then act upon it.
Yes, that is really tremendous. And I'm going to tell you why. What that requires is a certain amount of trust. And we find the ways to trust in time. It doesn't always happen right away, right? I'm having a conversation right now with an individual who I'm saying, listen, trust the process. This is a person who keeps their word. We don't need to walk into this event all lawyered up, right? When doors open, Now, especially now, I think it's okay to walk through. I always say, I'll open the door. I just need you to walk through it. But it's how you walk through it. So you've been walking through doors and you've been keeping them open. And so thank you so much, because Supreme Model, Daniel, I just want to show the people, you know, Marcellas, some of the book, right? So we're going to flip through some of these pages because I know you're busy and I committed to a certain amount of time, but I just want to show those of you who are looking.
Because there's nothing on it. Come on, Daniel, keep work with it, baby.
He knows to like rest for 10 seconds. That's on my direction. He can't.
Okay, so listen, talk about listening to somebody who knows something. This page is Beth Ann Hardison, who in the book I call the godmother.
Yes.
Font of information and has been on the right side of history since like the late 60s when she was a model. And she's instrumental in the careers of so many, not just Black models, but models of every race. And it's listening to her, we call her the oracle in fashion, listening to her and taking in what she says with a heart of humility, you know? And then you can like process it, go out and do exactly what she says because she's been there and she's lived it.
Yes, yes. I mean, Iman, come on.
Dream.
Elegance.
Sorry to interrupt you, honey. One of the things I love the most about this book, about Supreme Models, is that Essence magazine lives in this book right next to Vogue magazine, right next to Harper's Bazaar, right next to Italian Vogue and Numero and all the other iconic magazines. And for me as a Black person, that was really important because I'll be honest with you, my publisher was like, well, maybe Essence magazine shouldn't be in the book with all these covers. And I was like, Essence is the Black Vogue and as a Black man, I'm going to amplify that voice. I'm going to say that Essence deserves to be in this book right alongside the other magazines.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite photos in the book because this is a rule-breaking, gender-bending, defying the odds supermodel. This is Edwa Aboa, and she has just taken fashion by storm with her freckles and her shaved head and her I don't give a attitude. And that's what fashion is actually about, that person that changes the narrative when they walk in the room. It's about the person that walks through the door, and even though the door is cracked just that much and they're not sure about that person, she wows them with her personality.
Yes.
And of course, the queen.
Come on. I mean, just give her a round of applause.
Oh, hell, queen. Talk about the game changer, the first Black model on the cover of American Vogue. Like, that changed the game. That impacted so many people across the world when a Black woman with dark skin is on the cover of the biggest, most important fashion magazine in the world. That changes the perception of beauty for so many people.
Yes.
And who better to do it than Beverly Johnson?
So I really encourage everyone to go on Amazon. I mean, I know that that's where you can get it for sure. Tell people where we can get it because it needs to be a Christmas gift.
It needs to be a Christmas gift. It is, first of all, I say this dispassionately. I've lived with this for 8 years. It's been out in the world a little over a year now. It's still getting press almost every day. People love it. People enjoy it. What's most important to me, though, is that women will take pictures reading it and showing it to their daughters.
Yes.
And young girls will get the book and they'll send me questions about the book, or they'll send me pages about the book that say things like, I have short natural hair and Alec Weck has short natural hair, and that means that I'm beautiful too if she's on the cover of Elle. So that's why books like this matter. That's why we need books that celebrate people of all races, right? Because women, no race on that, need to see that other women have opened that door, and they can believe if you see it, you can be it.
That's right.
It's all about representation. It's all about the needs for diversity and inclusion. So there's that little black kid like me, the little gay kid that may be bullied and not have like friends and have to stay in the house because when he leaves the house, the world outside isn't kind. And magazines like Ebony and Essence and Black Enterprise inspired me to dream, to know that there was something more on the other side of what I was living through now. So, and it's not just a black book, it's a beautiful book about fashion.
That's right. That's right.
You know, if you love fashion, you'll love it.
Absolutely. I think, you know, it's imperative that that be a book on everybody's table. If you love fashion, you love art, you love design, that's a book that, in fact, somebody you know that loves all those things, that's a great gift for them. Because we talk about inclusion and diversity, but how does it look in our home? What are the books and the magazines that we're reading? How do we really, really, really stand in the place of inviting all people, all genders, everybody to the table? I am so happy that you took this time to open us up as we've got a virtual fashion show going and some designers that are here. Sorry for those of you in the green room, there are no refreshments.
They're models. They're not eating before a show. They're trying to look skinny in that outfit.
So thank you, Marcellas Reynolds, for continuing to share your light and your vision and having made it a reality. And hopefully that little black gay boy inside of you is dancing and continue to dance because you have shined a light in there on the soul for some other folks who are on their way up. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, honey. I wish I could stay longer. I'm casting a show and it's crazy.
Go, go, go. I got the city behind me. All right. Speak soon. Oh, you guys, listen, what a joy, what a pleasure, and what a beautiful spirit and a joyous heart. Thank you, Marcellas Reynolds, for taking a bit of time to be with us today. So with that, the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship has a partner with AIBI, the Apparel Industry Board, Inc. And also, Amber Campos is our CCE advisor. So you know we're in good hands with how we steer our fashion sector. So let's take a look at AIBI.
Most people are familiar with our large-scale fashion events, but so much of what AIBI does is behind the scenes. We work with designers, pattern makers, factories, and other industry professionals for months or even years to create the kind of community that makes these events possible. We wanted to give you an insider's look into all of our programs. The Apparel Industry Board was founded in 1987 by Dorothy Fuller to help designers and industry professionals manage and grow their businesses. The Apparel Industry Foundation, our philanthropic arm, followed the next year to ensure access to educational opportunities for underserved communities. In the decades since, AIBI has expanded from runway shows and educational seminars to business support, job training, scholarships, and our newly upgraded AIBI Fashion Lab. This shared manufacturing co-working space offers emerging designers the resources to fully run their businesses with low overhead and the guidance of our AIBI experts. AIBI is here to nurture and support designers based in the greater Chicago area and is constantly developing new programs to better serve and promote the industry as a whole. Whether you are just starting out or need help with growing your business, know that AIBI is here for you.
Amber, oh my gosh. It's so good to have you as a partner and to have your advice and wisdom as a CCE advisor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is absolutely amazing. I am so impressed by Marcellas and the Supreme Models books. It's just amazing to hear. At AIBI, we are so lucky to work with some extremely talented people. We work with designers, we work with models, we work with everyone behind the scenes, and That's the only way that we can create these amazing events. And it's so interesting to be changing them to being virtual this year that the help of CCE has been amazing. We're so grateful.
Well, I have to say, for those who are watching, they don't know that AIBI sits at 2112 in our Fort Knox community, right? And so what you just witnessed, I have to say, I get so excited. They know I nerd out over the machines in there, you guys, but there's like this one machine that like does the seams for the leggings that we all wear. It's a very expensive machine. And the other one is the Gerber machine, right? Like, I'm not in fashion, but I was like, oh, efficiency. Oh, you mean you can lay this out and cut and make things happen? So they provide an actual space and a workshop. So I'm really proud of you guys. I'm really excited that AIBI literally has curated tonight's fashion event. In fact, they're going to take it over. So let's introduce Dana Todd, one of our local fashion designers. Dana Todd is a 3-time founder and digital innovation pioneer with 20 plus years making digital experiences for humans, including a patent for SEO technology. Currently CEO of a global fashion marketplace, Balondona, Ms. Todd has been a subject matter expert regarding digital business for trade and natural resources, conferences, academic, and legal engagements. Leadership background includes both agency side and brand side operations. As a former CMO, she employs a blend of digital and traditional marketing methods for integrated strategic planning and execution.
That is a mouthful.
Because
thank you so much.
Lot. I mean, we gotta read these things out.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, and thanks for that great intro. I'm delighted to get to be the host to get to interview our 4 amazing designers tonight. And thank you so much for making this possible. I'm so impressed by the work that CCE is doing, and I'm thrilled that AIBI can be part of that and essentially being the fashion wing of CCE.
Yes. Well, this is your night of fashion. Why don't you go ahead and take it from here? We love you, Dana. Thank you so much for participating with us over the summer. And now it's your time to shine a light on these local designers.
Awesome. Amber, I have to say, though, before we get started, because I'm fairly new to Chicago and I'm definitely new to fashion. And I have been continually amazed and surprised at what an incredible fashion community Chicago is, but it's like a best kept secret. I feel like nobody knows how much talent is here. Obviously, we have some very famous people on tonight, but even beyond that, I know that AIBI is helping to foster careers of up and coming, but you also get a chance to work with some of the big time notables in the industry. So it's such a thrill to be part of this, to represent her tonight.
Yes. We all know Chicago is the world's biggest small town. In fashion, we all know each other. And especially now when everything is sort of in flux, we all work together. And I've been really amazed by how giving everyone has been. So many partnerships have grown in this last year. And that's kind of what you're going to get to see tonight is, as we created these fashion vignettes, it was really bringing together talent from everywhere that we could find it. And I think everyone's going to like it.
Oh, we have such an incredible array, and something for everybody, by the way. It's not just one particular set of style we have. I think you're going to be really intrigued and impressed at what we've brought you tonight.
Absolutely. It's a very varied display of fashion.
Excellent. Well, so without further ado, let's meet our first designer. Elda De La Rosa is a 20-year career veteran in design. And she's been an entrepreneur pretty much the whole way. While she has worked in-house as a lead tailor and designer for brands like Ricorsa, who we're going to meet later tonight, she has also had her own couture brand now. So when you think of couture, right? You think of amazing gowns. You think of something that you'd wear on the runway or on the red carpet. that is exactly what Elda de la Rosa brings to the table. And she is loved by celebrities, socialites, debutantes, and of course, brides who want to look their most amazing. She was a top 10 finalist for the Oscars Designer Challenge. She's been featured in a bajillion magazines and on television. Everywhere you look, when you think of the top notch of couture in Chicago, Elda's name comes up over and over again. And her trademark styles, we'll see a few of them tonight. Her trademark styles are vintage inspired. They're very feminine, they're tailored, they're timeless, and boy, are they romantic. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Elda de la Rosa. Hello.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's so exciting to talk with you. So Elda, you have been an entrepreneur, and that's in fashion, that is tough. And the fact that you made it not just 2, but 20 years and have continued to succeed and impress every year. Tell us a little bit about that entrepreneurial journey and how you got to where you are, and how we're going to see a little bit of your collection tonight. So maybe tell us how you got to that collection and maybe who helped you along the way.
Sure. So I have been in business forever. I grew up sewing. I grew up drawing. I love what I do for a living. So it was just natural for me to be an entrepreneur. And I didn't even know it was called an entrepreneur. It was just something natural to me, to who I was as an artist. I was, as a child, nurtured to follow my passion as sewing and drawing and everything that I wanted to do. So I've been in Chicago. I came to design school here. Back at the time, the school was called Revo College of Design, and I immediately worked for a jewelry designer and then started in the industry, but I always had my own little side jobs of sewing on the side for brides or prom dresses or any type of special occasion type of event. And and so I grew up here on the north side, and I got married and had kids and had my shop and been self-employed. I've moved around all over the city with my business, but really this is what I've done forever. And then I think back in 2014, I knew Daryl from AIBI, and we somehow or another became connected, and we're fashion brother sister. And he's I consider him not only my brother, my friend, and my colleague. There was a time where I had to go to work, and I ended up working with Daryl for his label, which is Recorso, and I learned so much from him. And shortly after that, I ended up in Lake Forest at the Lake Forest shop with my gowns, and didn't realize the value of what it was to be a designer until I got there, because I saw that my dresses were selling, and it was a very empowering feeling. And the commute was a little hard for me because I was always a city girl. To go to Lake Forest was a little tough on a daily basis. And then about 3 years ago, I moved to Oak Street, and I've been here on Oak Street for the last 3 years. And a funny thing, Dana, I remember talking to Amber and letting her know that I was worried about everything that's happening with the pandemic and my rent's falling behind and drama. And she's like, Elda, you've lived through so much. I'm not worried about you. And I said, okay, I guess I shouldn't be worried either. So, I really love being part of the whole AIBI community of designers. And it is a small world here. We all do know each other. And I don't know. I think that when you have your own look and your own style and fashion, you go along in time and you grow, and you cultivate your own styles. And my line this year is called Esperanza, which is hope, because I still have hope and I still believe in our fashion community here. And I believe in my business. I believe in myself. I believe that my experience has carried me this far. And, I love what I do. And I probably will be self-employed for my entire life because I'm best that way. But I am very easy to collaborate with other people, because I think that once you've learned to work with clients, you learn to interpret a lot of things, and you learn to become a team player too.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect segue for us to get to chance to see your stuff in action. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with how AIBI managed to pull off a fashion show in a pandemic and in such a creative way. So I think you'll really enjoy this next film.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Can I just have every single one of those gowns? They're all so stunning. I love them all. What an incredible collection.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
We're going to put you back in the green room for just a few minutes while we can talk to the other designers, and we're all going to come back at the end. So don't go away. All right. So next up, we have really an amazing designer. If you haven't heard of Lauren Line, then you will very soon. So we call her Chicago's Lady Gaga. And one of the things that I really found fascinating about Lauren's approach to fashion is that she dresses really powerful women in a most creative way. So she's got sort of a duality to her designs, these very extravagant and over-the-top designs, but also just these incredibly powerful business suits. Some of the most, some big names that you would know. She's got a punk aesthetic as well as a practical side for professional women. Some of the highest profile politicians, celebrities, and top executives in wear her clothes. She is currently a 4-term president of our own wonderful AIBI, Apparel Industry Board, and she's really devoted to uniting and advancing Chicago's fashion community. She also began her fashion career as an entrepreneur 20 years ago. She started off in Detroit, so she is a transplant like me, but now she has an amazing atelier in the Monadnock building downtown. She's won numerous fashion awards and has had grants come from Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. Without further ado, please meet Lauren Line.
Hello.
Lauren, it's so amazing to see you.
Hi.
And I've had a chance to have a sneak peek at your collection already, but I would love if you could. We've been talking tonight a lot about just the entrepreneurial journey. And one of the things about CCE is that a lot of entrepreneurs, it's a lonely journey. I'm an entrepreneur. It's a lonely journey sometimes, and you really need to feel connected and supported to a larger structure, right? And sometimes that's hard to do in creative industries because sometimes there's a feeling of scarcity, right? And like, uh-oh, no, I have to be careful to hide my secrets. But Chicago's a little bit different than that. And AIBI's approach is definitely very different than that. And you yourself said you've done a lot in terms of building your own network and how that's helped your career. Talk me through your entrepreneurial journey, how you got to where you are today, a little bit about what we're going to see in the upcoming film, and also how'd you get here without other people?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be here, and I wanna tell you that being in the green room, I dressed in green to match the green room, haha. And this is one of my digital prints that we've just come up with, a glass block print, and that's, you'll see later on in the collection. And I want to just thank AIBI. I want to thank you, Dana, CCE, and Saudia, and Daniel, and Amber, and Kat for organizing such an innovative evening for us to go on for 9 days of film and theater, and including fashion and AIBI in this is really a great collaboration. And I think it's a great thing that's come out of the pandemic. Can't wait for more of this to happen. So thank you for that. But as far as my community and my entrepreneurialism, I would have to say that started when I was a little girl in St. Louis, Michigan, 4,000 people. I was selling lemonade, making lemons out of lemonade, to 5 of those 4,000, and they came back for second. So I took that as, a good run for my money. And I also was starting out selling magazines in the community. There is a tie-in here because I ended up marrying my first customer, her only son. I ended up marrying Thomas Kavanaugh, and a lot of you probably don't even know that. And so my community started at a very young age, and my entrepreneurialism. I wanted to have my own money. I wanted to be independent. And I brought that to my knowledge in Detroit, where I started my business many, many years ago. You said 20, and that's nice of you. It's actually more like 25, 30. And that's great. And I took that knowledge in Detroit with dressing professional women. I had a community of NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners, who I dressed. I threw the clothes on them. Then they wore them and they sold. And that's how I've built my entire business, is really with networking with powerful women who, of course, love the clothes, and then, told their friends. So, one of my quotes will always be kind to everyone, because you never know, who's going to be, helping bring you up, from then on. And then I moved to Chicago in '92, and I started working with AIBI immediately. I met Dorothy Fuller and Marcia Brenner. That was before Amber and Kat's time. And those women were my mentors, and they were very solid and by the book, and they taught me everything I know about being in Chicago fashion. And then Kat and Amber came along, and they're so free-flowing and innovative and fun and young, and they keep us all on our toes. And they did such a fabulous job with this Rev Up show. There was never a no. We just had to keep going, keep changing, which is obviously the only thing that is really real in fashion, is change. You have to always be changing. So again, that was my community. Philanthropic wise, I went into the Service Club, which I'll hopefully be a member of soon, and they taught me how to be philanthropic, as well as wearing my clothes and helping each other out by building within our community, which is, you don't have entrepreneurialism, you don't have community, you don't have a fashion line if you don't help each other, is the way I see it. And all of that, Dana, I think kind of comes together, I hope, in this collection that was built during the pandemic. The year was starting out really great for me. I had a lot on the books, a lot of customers coming to see me, and it all went away. And I sort of felt like Alice going down the rabbit hole. My children were coming home from college, and which was great, but yet everybody was in everybody's face. So we got by. And of course we were healthy. I built this collection to be hopeful, joyful. You will see my models are real women. They are not professional models, but they look like it. They're my customers, they're my friends, and they're wearing our new digital prints that we come up with in our house with little nature prints and what have you. And we add joy and love and life and diversity. The sky's the limit for pretty clothes. And whether it's leggings and you're 19 or this bomber jacket and you're 95, the clothes kind of work for everybody.
Well, I think people are going to be really inspired and excited about the collection that you're showing us tonight. They are whimsical, and they certainly would bring me out of the pandemic blues to get to wear them. So let's take a look at Lauren's new line.
Thank you.
He's so happy. I don't know. I feel so much better already.
Good, good. I'm glad. I did forget to tell you the name of the collection. It's Lauren at Work, Home, and Play, Climbing Out of Quarantine.
Perfect title. And those butterflies, they're prints. And I don't know if everyone really caught that, but you actually design your own prints. So those are pretty amazing. All those fabrics that you saw.
Yeah.
So the design goes all the way literally to the thread level in Lauren line.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the green room. We'll bring you back in a little bit. Next up, we have Peach Carr. Now, those of you who are Project Run fans might recognize Peach because she was on season 8 and then also part of the All-Stars crew. She has an amazing, not just clothing, but also a line of bags that are just stunning. She does a lot of couture, custom clothing. Her style influence is pretty unusual. So when we were talking about this earlier, she said if it was something that Twiggy or Edie Sedgwick would wear, so those of you who remember the 60s or study the 60s and 70s will know that these two icons were really phenomenal influencers of the time and continue to be so today. And I love how she reinterprets that 60s and 70s style and brings it into today. Tim Gunn called her country club chic because she designs for women who want to be on trend, polished, and comfortable all at the same time. I loved this, but I think it was somewhere in there you said that they can actually be machine washed, which is amazing. That to me is just a blessing as a professional woman. So, and speaking of professional women, she makes clothes for a lot of very famous professional women, including some Real Housewives of New Jersey, as well as Chicago's own actress and writer Nora Dunn and country music Reba McEntire. So without further ado, Peach, come on in.
Hi.
It's so wonderful to have you here tonight. I cannot tell you how excited I am to showcase your designs tonight and let everybody see what an amazing designer you are. And when we were talking earlier, you were talking about how, as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for a way to pivot and be creative with your business model and try new things. And I love the story you told me about how your bags began as part, and somewhere along in midway, I guess, through your entrepreneurial journey. But I'd love it if you kind of walk us through your journey, some of the pivots that you've made to react to situations like the pandemic, and how you got here and the community that you kept.
Well, I am a Chicago native. I was born at St. Anne's in Chicago, and I did not take the designer path. I worked in a hospital my whole life, and when my daughter was 15, we were watching Project Runway, and she said, "You should be on Project Runway," and I said, "You should mind your own business." So she downloaded the application, filled it out, and sent it in, and 14,000 applicants applied that year, and they took 16 of us, and I was one of the 16. And when I came home from the show, the producers kept me employed. I worked for Lifetime TV for quite a few years, I think 8 years. But they don't prepare you for the business end. And that's when I found AIBI, and Marcia and Amber, they all helped me kind of figure out where to get a pattern grader, where to get your patterns printed and manufacturing. And that's how the business end got started. And I'll always be grateful to have that support system. They're still there today. You can just pick up the phone and call. But I did, everything's inspired by that 60s, 70s kind of thing. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be Twiggy, and then I thought, well, that's not happening. I'll dress her. So I always have that in the back of my head when I'm designing. It's just part of my DNA. But I did a bag because my friend Nora Dunn was doing a French salon kind of entertainment performance evening, and they asked me to come, and I made a dress out of the New Yorker cartoons, and it was all men was on the dress, and then I just covered a little bag, and that was dogs. So it was a man and his dog, and the hostess said, "Could I get that bag?" And I gave it to her. And then I got phone calls. "Can you make more?" And that's kind of how the handbag things started, and that's a little side business. But then when the pandemic hit and nobody was going anywhere and disposable income was not spent on handbags, then I started, and I have one, you started the masks, right? These are the drinking masks. So it goes on, and then here, okay, is where the straw goes in. And you're, having a safe cocktail. So that's just always pivot, always be thinking, how do I do this? We donated 1,500 masks before I started selling them. We made hospital gowns. We made the hats for the nurses. And that was just the donation end. And then you donated enough and said, okay, let's pay our bills. Let's pay our manufacturers. They like that. So, and it is all about pivoting your support system. My Project Runway family, we have this little nucleus of designers, and we love each other, we respect each other, and we help each other. And I think that's very important in a community like design, that you say there's plenty of customers for everybody. So let's just kind of help each other out and band together. We're stronger together than we are alone. And Chicago's it's my hometown. It's the only place I've ever known, and I'll never leave.
So tell us a little bit about what we're going to see tonight from you.
Well, during the pandemic, everybody was baking, and man, sugar, flour in an oven to me is just disastrous. So I started cleaning closets and those little boxes of things you've had around. And I found a box of paper dolls from when Molly was little, and I dropped them, and the paper dolls went all over the floor. And I started thinking, So this, I don't have a kitschy name for this, but this whole collection was kind of inspired by this box of paper dolls that fell out. And it's just my sense of humor. I mean, if you watch the first episode of my season, I'm pretty funny. So it was all that tongue-in-cheek, and, my clients, they do want to look nice. They're polished. Everything goes in the washing machine, even the sequins, but they also don't want to look like everybody else. And so what you'll see coming up is a few pieces that, you don't look like everybody else.
I'm excited to see it. Let's roll it.
Okay.
what an incredible collection.
Thank
And
you.
that paper doll dress is going on my Christmas list here. Oh, what an amazing, I love that concept. And I like
Thank you.
paper
It
dolls.
comes with many different varieties, and the snaps are always in the same place. So no matter what you snap on, it just goes right onto the little black dress. So it's kind of fun.
Oh, I am now a huge fan of that idea. These like better than Garanimals. Thank you so much for. All right, back to the green room. Then we'll bring you right back. We have one more designer. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, so 3 out of 4, but saving a most interesting newcomer to fashion. I guess he's not really a newcomer, but Daryl's an unusual person in fashion. Like me, he kind of came from the business side, and I love that he uses his business savvy to really think through what are going to be some of the best selling and the most exciting ways to bring fashion to his customers. So he also does something that I love, which is that he dresses 2 different parts of the same woman, or maybe 2 different types of women. And he does it through 2 fashion brand lines, Ricorso and Sound Off. So Ricorso was started in 2013 as a women's ready-to-wear line. It's very much about like the vintage, new classics. He did this before Mrs. Maisel came along. He was dressing women who really wanted to look elegant and put together in any situation. Then in 2016, he launched the luxury streetwear brand Sound Off. Completely different way of dressing, but also powerful graphic design that represents social awareness. Well, you'll see, but a lot of things that are very au courant. And then additionally, it's gender neutral. So his clothes can be worn by both men and women in the Sound Off line. I just love that approach to fashion and really listening to your audience and hearing what those opportunities are. And women who want to be both dressed up and dressed down, but always look powerful. Daryl's been featured in Essence, Ask Men, Chicago Style, and local press. Please welcome Daryl Sneed.
Thanks, Dana. How are you?
Awesome. I'm sure I didn't do you justice, and I can't wait to show people your fashions. I really did love this duality, the idea that you have these 2 different brands, which seems so different. But ultimately, if you looked at my closet, and I know a lot of women out there, their closets are the same. We're not just one type of dresser. So tell us how you got to your collection today, what that journey was, launching not 1, but 2 brands. That's very ambitious. And what kind of community you utilized and built on your own to help you get ahead.
Yeah, you know, it's been a journey and an evolution, you know, since the very beginning. And you know, I think the ability to launch a second line was really having kind of cut my teeth with Ricorso. So it gets easier when you build relationships and networks and connections. So like, hey, I'm gonna take on this challenge. Like you have a great kind of network to kind of already tap into. So now I don't think I'm launching a 3rd anytime soon, but you know, adding on Sound Off, and Sound Off was really, you know, reflective of a voice we started in 2016, which was very much you know, emerging out of the election during that period of time. And women, men, you know, all voices of all gender identity were really beginning to take notice about what was changing. And so we created the Sound Off, you know, more as a reflection of what was happening, you know, just in broadly. And, you know, particularly, you know, 2017 with the launch of the Women's March in January, you know, we just saw, you know, such an opportunity where, you know, people were going to use their voice to enact change. And, you know, what better way to create that narrative than through fashion? So Ricorso and Sound Off, you know, have been, you know, journeys of how to take ideas entrepreneurially, how to build networks, how to build relationships, to take an idea to actuality, which takes, you know, time. It takes, you know, building relationships and making connections, and then bridging them together.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the collection that we're going to see now.
So, you know, this is probably the first time I've actually ever married the 2 collections together. And they've kind of been in their own trajectory. I mean, Ricorso being, you know, much more kind of the uptown, you know, kind of like luxury style, the woman who wants that identity and that special aspect, and really honoring the tailoring aspects of fashion. Sound Off being much more street, you know, contemporary voice through graphic design. And, you know, I'd say, you know, when Amber and AIBI approached with the idea of Rev Up and, you know, what I would present, I was like, I think this is the right time, given the pandemic, to bridge closets. Because that's what we are seeing. It's like, we were going to come out of, when we come out of the pandemic, I think we're going to see people who are going to like take the streetwear lifestyle essentials they've worked and go like, how do I marry this into my closet? So the idea of like, hey, I have a black ball skirt and I have great sweatshirts. Why can't you wear them together? So, several of the pieces are bridging the marriage of, creating identity isn't about, just wearing one way. It's about, how does it reflect your personality, and just taking aim at using what you have.
I love that. And you are so perfectly on trend with this collection. I can't wait to show everybody. So let's roll it. So beautiful. So beautiful. What a perfect balance and perfect blend. Well, so stick around because we're going to bring all of our designers on now. Oh, where we go. Wait, I'm missing Elda. Elda. Did we lose her? We're missing Elda. There she is. Hey! So cool. I'm glad you guys were able to work together. So we're going to do a speed round before we close and move to the next segment. I'd love for you all to share one tip for our up-and-coming entrepreneurs in coming into the fashion in any aspect. I'm going to start with our twofer over there. Daryl, since you were up last, keep talking to us about it. What do you think an entrepreneur should know?
Entrepreneurs should know it's never a sprint. It's always a marathon. It's going to take you far. Yeah, not that it take forever, but don't get disappointed at the first time when it doesn't hit the mark you think it's going to hit. Just try again. Eventually, you do get there.
Amen to that. And Elda.
To me, the thing I've learned most, I started off as an artist and I thought like an artist. And this year I became a businesswoman. It's all about, I mean, I hate to say it's all about the money, but it is. When you survive on your income, it's, you know, you have to have your passion, but you have to have your business mind.
Can't live on dreams alone. Peach, what's your tip for entrepreneurs?
I always tell entrepreneurs to stay small when you start out and make small mistakes, because a big expensive mistake will put you out of business, and then your spirit is broken and it's hard to bring that back. So no matter how much, if you have a good year, you're still poor. Pretend you're poor. Always poor, because that money will come. Like in a pandemic, you've got that little, you know, load in the camel's hump to feed you through something like what we're going through. So just remember 4 little words: POOR, you're poor.
Wise words. Lauren, bring us home with your hottest tip for entrepreneurs.
Yes, I couldn't do just one, but mine will be fast. Keep moving, be nice, don't be afraid to ask for help, and listen to your mom or your mom-like figure.
That's a good one. I like that.
In other words, listen, people, because
listen to your mother.
I didn't, and you know.
So as you can see, the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship empowers creatives at all levels with resources, knowledge, skills, and the relationships necessary for business successes. So please consider making your, speaking of money, please make your donation to givecce.com. And know that you're actually going to impact artists directly, because 10% of the proceeds will go to Artists Relief, which has been an incredible assistance this year in a really rough time. Again, it's www.givecce.com. And no amount is too small or too big. Big is encouraged, but please do give, and give generously.
It's a fashion show that happened virtually. In every sector of the creative world, we are figuring out how to adapt, how to be agile, and make the necessary changes for us to be able to try to produce what we could before the pandemic. So thank you to all of our designers for not only contributing their talent and their vision for us tonight, but really for being guiding lights to any of our entrepreneurs in the fashion industry. So I want to give a brilliant thanks to Elda Del La Rosa, Lauren Lean, Peach Carr, and Daryl Sneed. You guys have really, really delivered an incredible virtual fashion show for our business of fashion. And I got to say one other thing, because, you know, Peach just mentioned keeping your team lean, right? Keeping things small and reduced as you launch. And I think that that's really good advice. I also love that, you listen to the elders, individuals who have learned and have some wisdom to impart. So at this time, I'm really, really, really excited, you guys, for this special performance by our solo drummer, Hannah Welton. Driven by her lifelong passion to rock and extensive students in jazz, Hannah Welton brought a dynamic, multifaceted history as a world-class drummer to her role as the rhythmic backbone of Prince's Third Eye Girl. The legendary artist explosive 4-tour rock band that features Hannah, Canadian guitarist Donna Grantis, and Danish bassist Ida Nielsen. Launching her professional career at age 12 by joining a blues band with her trumpet-playing father in the Windy City, she is the only female to win the Louis Belston Heritage Days Drums competition in 2006. Welton's other regional accolades include being voted Outstanding Jazz Musician at Chicago's New Trier Jazz Festival in 2007 and Outstanding Musician at Chicago's Jazz in the Meadows Festival in 2007. Ford was named Best Drummer Musician in Suburban Nightlife magazine's Best of the Burbs Readers poll in 2008. Listen, she was also a cast as L.A. Couture, the onstage drummer in the 2011 Chicago musical White Noise. Let's show Hannah do her thing.
What's up, everybody? It's Hannah Welton, and for those of you that may or may not know, I drummed for Prince in his bands Third Eye Girl and the New Power Generation. What an honor that was for me, and such a whirlwind and so fun. I grew up in a family full of musicians and dancers and athletes, and so expression was never short in our family. We were never short on expression. But when I got to know Prince and he kind of took us under his wing, my husband and I, he brought us also into the aspect of performance and artistry as a whole. So it wasn't just focused on music. It was about stage production, lighting, sound, music, and then also image and branding. And fashion played a huge part of that. As iconic as he is fashion-wise, I was so honored and so thankful that he brought us into his world and opened up our eyes to another form of expression, fashion.
Hey, you guys, I am still jamming. I mean, Hannah just knocked it out. Not only did she drum as a drum soloist for us tonight, but she took it to the next level, and she literally wore the clothes that were designed for her while she worked with Prince. So thank you, Hannah Welton. You know, it has been a tremendous, it's only the third day. What are you going to see next? I encourage you, for those of you who are watching, please share these valuable 9 days of, not only is it a Stream-a-Thon, but we're providing impactful education, you know, by some of the top leaders in our 9 sectors of the creative economy. I'm Sadia Davis. I'm really excited to tomorrow bring to you our fashion. Well, sorry, today was fashion. Bring to you tomorrow our business of theater. We are live every night until the 9th night. So hang tight with us. Get your tickets on our Eventbrite. So log on to the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship website, cceglobal.org. And you know what? Just keep rolling with us. We're excited to be able to bring this dynamic programming to you going into our holiday season. Thank you to all of our designers and Marcellas, Reynolds, and AIBI for bringing forth a virtual fashion experience. Have a great night, everybody.